I found out my mom ruined my credit while eating cold lasagna at a used car dealership. No, seriously. I was 24, sitting across from a salesman named Gary who smelled like microwave soup and wore too much cologne, trying to lease my first car. I had the down payment. I had the job. What I didn't have, apparently, was a credit score that didn't look like it had been mugged in an alley. Gary clicked something on his crusty Dell keyboard and frowned. He said. You've got multiple accounts in collections. 3 cards maxed. 1 was charged off. I blinked. That can't be right. I've never even had a credit card. He turned the screen toward me like he was showing off a bad Tinder match. And there it was. My name. My social security number. My birth date. And 5 credit cards I'd never touched, 2 of which had been opened when I was still in high school. And that's when it clicked. The sudden pre-approved letters that used to show up at our old address. The time my mom helped me fill out my FAFSA. The "I'll take care of your paperwork" conversations. I was 18 and stupid. She was helpful and good with details. Apparently, she was also good at forging signatures. I didn't say anything at first. I just left the dealership, drove home in my sputtering 2002 Corolla, and sat in my parking spot for 15 minutes with the engine off, staring at the steering wheel like it owed me an apology. I called my mom that night. She picked up on the 3rd ring, voice chipper like she'd just gotten off a wine Zoom with her friends. "Sweetheart," she said. "How's the car shopping going?" That's when I knew. She wasn't even going to pretend. I went quiet. Let her speak first. "I tried to lease a car," I said. "They said my credit's trashed." A pause. Just long enough to signal guilt. Then, "Oh, that's so strange. Are you sure it's not identity theft?" It was identity theft, all right. Hers. "I saw the accounts, Mom," I said. "They were opened under my name. While I was still in high school. You want to tell me how that happened?" She didn't deny it. Not really. She just sighed and did the thing she always does when she gets caught, played the mom martyr card like it was her go-to Uno reverse. "I was under so much stress," she said. "Your father had just left, and I didn't have a credit score of my own. It was just for groceries and necessities. Groceries don't cost $9,000 at Nordstrom." I snapped. "Don't take that tone with me." I hung up. That night I filed an identity theft report. Froze my credit. Spent 4 hours writing letters to creditors, sending in paperwork, and wondering how many years of my life I'd lose cleaning up someone else's mess. Someone who was supposed to protect me. And that would have been the end of it, until 6 months later, she called me again. And this time, she wasn't calling about groceries or guilt trips. She wanted me to co-sign for a mortgage. Not for her. For my brother. For Tyler. The golden child who never worked a job longer than 3 weeks and once got scammed trying to sell a PlayStation on Craigslist. "Just for paperwork," she said. "The bank wants a stronger credit profile on the application. He'll make the payments, of course." I laughed so hard I dropped my phone. "You want me to co-sign for Tyler, after you destroyed my credit for handbags and wine club subscriptions? Are you serious?" She actually sounded offended. "You're being dramatic. We're a family. Families support each other." "No," I said. "Families don't ruin each other's financial futures and then come back asking for favors. You're being selfish." She didn't even flinch when she said it. Like I was the problem. Like I was the one who'd betrayed her. I didn't answer right away. I just stared at my ceiling fan spinning like the world's dumbest carousel and realized something. She didn't regret what she'd done. She regretted getting caught. But I was done playing the obedient son. She wanted support? She was about to get a public reckoning instead. When my mom realized I wasn't going to cave, she did what she always does when someone challenges her moral high ground. She escalated. 2 days later, I got a group text. "Mom. Hey, sweetie. Family dinner at our place this Sunday. Your brother has something exciting to share. Translation: Tyler's going to announce the house purchase, and they're all expecting me to smile, nod, and sign off on a 30-year mortgage like I'm not still paying off her stolen shopping spree and emotional damage. I didn't reply. But I went. Not because I wanted reconciliation, but because I needed to see how delusional they really were. When I walked into the house, Tyler was already there, grinning like a Labrador in a man bun. My mom had made her. I'm a great mom. Dinner spread, roasted chicken, 3 side dishes, and the scent of store-bought pie trying its best to feel homemade. Bro! Tyler clapped me on the back like he hadn't spent the last decade being the human equivalent of a bounced check. Glad you came. You ready to make real estate history with me? I raised an eyebrow. You mean with my credit score? He chuckled like I was joking. Spoiler, I wasn't. Dinner was a circus. My mom was in full-blown host mode, offering second helpings of everything while tiptoeing around the bomb I was clearly about to drop. So, she said finally, folding her napkin and putting on her serious but loving parent voice. Tyler found a beautiful place just a few minutes from here. 3 beds, big yard, even a bonus room he could use for a home office once he gets his new remote job. That doesn't exist yet. I cut in. Tyler blinked. My mom kept going, ignoring the interruption like it was background noise. But the bank just needs a little bit of extra assurance. You've rebuilt your credit so well, honey. You should be proud. I told you, it's all behind us now. Behind her, maybe. I still get debt collector spam in my name that I didn't create. I took a sip of water. So let me get this straight. After you used my identity to open 5 credit cards, without permission, by the way, and torched my score into the basement, now you want me to sign legal documents tying me to a 30-year loan with him? Tyler shifted in his seat. Dude, it's not like I'm asking you to pay anything. No, just to put my name on the line. No big deal. My mom leaned forward, voice softer now. You don't have to make this a thing. It was already a thing. It's been a thing since I was 18 and couldn't apply for a phone plan without getting flagged. I looked at her, really looked, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't see a mother. I saw a manipulator in pearls. You didn't even apologize, I said quietly. Not once. She sighed, like I was the difficult one. Because I knew you'd hold it over me forever. No. You didn't apologize because you don't feel sorry. You just want access. Tyler raised his hands, trying to play peacemaker. Okay, let's not make this a huge family drama. Too late. Ty, I said. What's your credit score? He opened his mouth. Closed it. Looked at Mom. What's your debt-to-income ratio? I asked. Got a pay stub from this remote job they're supposedly hiring you for? He turned red. Thought so. My mom's tone turned icy. He's trying, you know. Not everyone gets handed opportunities. That was it. That was the line. You think I was handed anything? I said. I worked 2 jobs while digging out of the hole you put me in. You lit the match, and I had to rebuild the damn house. The room went quiet. Even the pie looked uncomfortable. Then my mom stood. If you're going to be cruel, you can leave. I stood too. No problem, I said. But just know, I'm not staying quiet anymore. Because I had receipts. Old statements. Collection letters. Dates. Even a copy of the police report I filed that I never submitted, just to avoid putting her behind bars. But I was starting to rethink that decision. And Tyler? Tyler wasn't getting a house. He was about to get a wake-up call. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was upset, that ship sailed years ago. I didn't sleep because I was digging through old Gmail folders, screenshots, bank notices, and PDF statements. Years of digital dust, all tied to the moment my mom decided I was worth more as a name on a credit line than as a son. I had receipts. And I was about to go full scorched earth. See, it wasn't just the money. It was the lie. The entitlement. The way my mom weaponized family to cover her own tracks, then tried to make me the villain for not helping Tyler. The same Tyler who once told me, "Some people just aren't cut out for success," while he was vaping on my couch, jobless, wearing a hoodie I'd loaned him. I sent the first email at 8:17 a.m. Subject: regarding the mortgage, and my name. I sent it to the mortgage officer my mom had mentioned in passing, the one she said was just waiting for a cosigner. I CC'd Tyler. And for good measure, my aunt, the one who posts family photos like we're a Hallmark movie. Inside the email was a polite bomb. A summary of the identity theft. Evidence of credit abuse tied directly to my mother. A note clarifying that I would not be co-signing or involved with any financial obligations related to the property. And a final statement. Any document containing my name should be considered unauthorized and potentially fraudulent. I've submitted a formal affidavit to Equifax and Experian. 2 hours later, I got a reply. From Mortgage Officer Lisa. Subject: regarding the mortgage, and my name. Body: thank you for your email. I will be removing you from the application immediately and flagging the account internally for legal review. We take this type of concern seriously. I appreciate your transparency. Translation: Tyler's house? Dead. At 11:06 a.m., my phone rang. Caller ID: Mom. I declined. Then a text came in. Mom, you humiliated us. What is wrong with you? I didn't respond. 5 minutes later, another text. Mom, your brother is devastated. The seller pulled the offer. I hope you're happy. Then silence. I knew what that meant. The calm before the guilt hurricane. Sure enough, by that evening, my phone lit up with calls, but not from her. My cousin Amy texted me first. Hey, did you really send proof to the mortgage office? Aunt Linda is freaking out. Then my Aunt Linda herself, the extended family's self-appointed peacekeeper, called me 3 times. I finally answered on the 4th. Do you understand what you've done? She said, skipping right past hello. Which part? I said. Exposing fraud or preventing Tyler from committing mortgage homicide with my name? You could have handled it quietly. I tried that. For 6 years. Quiet got me debt collectors and rejection letters. She scoffed. This isn't just about credit scores. You embarrassed your mother in front of the whole family. I let that sit for a beat. Good, I said. Maybe now they'll stop asking me to fix problems they created. She hung up. And I swear I slept better that night than I had in a year. But the storm wasn't over. Tyler showed up the next day. Uninvited. At my job. I work in IT for a private company, nothing flashy, but enough to keep the lights on. Tyler came in wearing that same smug grin, except it was cracked now. Hollow around the eyes. Can we talk? He said, hands in his pockets like a teenager caught vaping in a school hallway. My manager raised an eyebrow. I told him I'd take my lunch early. We stepped outside. Tyler didn't waste time. Dude! What the hell? Why'd you have to go nuclear? I stared at him. You were about to drag me into a 6-figure loan with 0 income. What did you expect? A handwritten note? He looked at the ground. You could have just said no. I did. You didn't listen. He sighed. Mom's a mess. She's not eating. She says you're punishing us. Good. He blinked. What do you mean good? I crossed my arms. I want her to feel what I felt at 19, when I got denied for my first apartment because my credit was a dumpster fire. When I found out I owed $14,000 in cards I didn't open. When I was crying on hold with Capital One, trying to explain that my own mother stole my identity. Tyler didn't speak. I leaned in. You want sympathy? You get it after accountability. You want forgiveness? You earn it. Then I turned and walked back inside. And for once, he didn't follow. I didn't plan on going to the reunion. But then Amy, my cousin who doesn't suck, messaged me. Just so you know, your mom's coming to Grandma's 80th. She's already telling people you overreacted. That you made it all up. That was all I needed. Because if there's one thing I can't stand more than financial abuse, it's being labeled a liar by the same people who lit the match. I showed up late. Not because I wanted to make an entrance, I just didn't want to endure the pregame passive aggression. By the time I arrived, the church rec hall was full of casseroles, overperfumed dents, and awkward family hugs. I stepped in, and it was like the music scratched. My mom spotted me instantly. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. She made a beeline over. "Well, look who decided to join the family again," she said, tone sugary enough to induce cavities. I gave her a nod. "Mom." We stood there for a beat. A silent standoff between two people who used to pretend love was stronger than resentment. Then she leaned in and whispered, "Don't make a scene here." I smiled. "I won't have to." Because Amy had already made one for me. Unbeknownst to me, Amy, sweet, cardigan-wearing, tech-savvy Amy, had printed out a neat little handout titled, "How to Spot Family Financial Abuse," with real examples. Subhead, includes a timeline of credit fraud featuring our very own Aunt Linda. I found a stack of them on the dessert table. She had footnotes. Footnotes. By the time I'd finished a plate of sad pasta salad, people were already whispering. Not about me, about her. My mom. Aunt Linda. Tyler, who hadn't even shown up. Coward. I thought that would be the peak. It wasn't. Grandma called me over around dessert. She's 80, built like a wire hanger with a perm, and sharp enough to cut steel with her eyes. "You okay, baby?" she asked. "I'm all right. I heard what happened. That's why I didn't invite your mother to stay the weekend." I blinked. "Wait, you didn't?" She sipped her sweet tea and smirked. "Linda's always been a bit performative. She thinks love means putting a bow on the damage and calling it sacrifice." I stared at her. "That's exactly what she said. That I'm being dramatic and ungrateful." "Of course she did," Grandma said. "She used you because she thought you'd stay quiet. That's what abusers count on." Silence. I nearly choked on a lemon square. Grandma, the same woman who once made me apologize to a chair after bumping into it, just casually called my mom an abuser. "Don't look so surprised," she said. "You think you're the first person in this family she's drained dry?" And that's when she told me. Apparently, when my mom was 21, she racked up $12,000 in debt on Grandma's name using a Macy's card and some fake paperwork. Claimed it was a mix-up. Never paid her back. Then came the story about her ex-best friend, the one whose identity was used to open a line of credit at a luxury furniture store. "Oh, and your cousin Jonah," Grandma added. "She tried to use his financial aid login when he was applying to trade school. Thought he'd never notice." I sat there, stunned. "How does she still have friends?" "She doesn't," Grandma said. "She has victims." And then she patted my hand and said, "I'm glad you didn't co-sign. That would have been the next body she buried under a mortgage." By the end of the night, 3 aunts had apologized to me. One even offered to help me pay for a credit repair service. I declined, but I appreciated it. As I left the building, Amy walked me to the car. "She's mad," she said. "Your mom." Words getting around. "She might try to spin this harder." I looked at her. "Let her. I've got nothing to lose anymore." She grinned. "That's what makes you dangerous now." And she was right. Because when you've already lost your peace, your trust, your name, what's left to protect except the truth? It had been 2 weeks since the reunion. 2 weeks since my mom's porcelain mask cracked under the fluorescent church lighting and the whispers started circling like sharks. I thought she'd go radio silent. I was wrong. She showed up on my doorstep. It was a Wednesday. I'd just gotten home from work, exhausted, debating whether frozen nuggets counted as dinner when I heard the knock. I checked the peephole, and there she was. My mom. Holding a folder. Wearing a look that was either regret or constipation. "Can we talk?" she asked. I didn't answer. Just stared through the peephole like it was a horror movie. She tried again. I just want to clear the air. Against better judgment, I cracked the door open. She stepped in like she owned the place, same old energy, and set the folder down on my kitchen counter like it was full of peace treaties and not whatever flavor of BS she was about to serve. I've been thinking, she said, about what you said. At dinner. At the reunion. I owe you an apology. I waited. No tears. No shaky voice. Just corporate HR level sincerity. I know I've made mistakes. She continued, clasping her hands like she was praying for forgiveness on camera. And I want to make it right. Then she slid the folder toward me. Inside, a typed statement of apology. Signed and notarized. And at the bottom? A paragraph in smaller print. As part of our mutual agreement to forgive and forget past financial misunderstandings, Ethan Brooks agrees to co-sign on a temporary loan for the property purchase listed on page 2. I stared at it. Then I stared at her. You came here with a notarized apology just to sneak in a co-sign request? I said, my voice flat. It's not sneaky, she said quickly. It's just a legal formality. Foreclosure. You know what else is a legal formality? I said, pulling out my phone. Recording conversations where someone tries to manipulate a fraud victim into signing a contract under false pretenses. I hit record and set the phone down on the counter. Her smile twitched. You're recording me? I've been doing a lot of that lately, I said. Since the police report I never filed. Her jaw tightened. You wouldn't. I looked her dead in the eye. You already did. She snatched the folder back like it was radioactive. This was supposed to be a peace offering. Peace doesn't come with fine print, Mom. That's when the performance cracked. You're seriously going to hold a little paperwork over this family's future? She snapped. A little paperwork that trashed my credit and left me dodging debt collectors at 19. I snapped back. You lit the fire, and then blamed me for the smoke. She said nothing. I walked to the door and opened it. You can go now. And next time you want forgiveness, try using your real voice. Not a notary. She stood there for a moment, folder clutched like a dead dream, then finally left without a word. I locked the door behind her. Then I called my lawyer. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I wanted protection. He told me the recording, combined with the notarized document and history of abuse, gave me a solid case for a restraining order if she tried again. Even better? We could file retroactive identity theft charges if I ever wanted to go nuclear. But I didn't want court. Not yet. What I wanted was for her to finally understand. I'm not her pawn. I'm not her shield. I'm not her son on demand. I'm Ethan Brooks. And I'm done being quiet. 3 days passed after my mom's failed apology stunt, and I finally felt like I could breathe again. Until Tyler showed up at my apartment. Unannounced. I heard the knock and immediately knew it was him. He always knocks like he's unsure he should even be there, half apology, half. Bro, you got snacks? I opened the door and there he was. Hoodie, backwards cap, looking like a grown-up frat ghost. We need to talk, he said, eyes down. No, you need to talk, I replied, stepping aside. I'll listen. He walked in slow, like my living room was a courtroom. And it kind of was. I didn't know about the apology paper. He started. She didn't tell me she was pulling that crap. I didn't say anything. But I do need to come clean about something. A couple things. He sat on the edge of my couch, rubbing his hands together like they might generate courage. Then he finally looked up. Mom took out a student loan in your name. Years ago. When I first tried to go to community college. I blinked. What? Yeah. I failed out after a semester. And she didn't want Dad to find out. So she used your info instead. I stood frozen. You knew? I didn't at first. I thought it was under her name. But then a bill came in. I saw your name on it. She made me promise not to say anything. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Scratch that, I could. That was the worst part. This felt inevitable. Like I was just finally seeing how far the rot spread. Do you know how much it was? I asked. He flinched. A little over $7,000. But with interest. I pulled out my phone and opened my credit app. There it was. A loan account I'd never touched, sitting quietly in the background like a ghost. Delinquent status. $9,124 owed. And all this time, I thought it was leftover damage from the credit cards. I never bothered to dig that deep. Because I trusted her. You could have told me, I said quietly. I know, Tyler whispered. I should have. I didn't think it'd go this far. You didn't think it'd matter until you needed my name to buy a house. He winced. I didn't come here to defend it. I came to tell you the truth. That's not truth, I snapped. That's confession after the damage is done. He sat there, small and pathetic, and for the first time in my life, I didn't pity him. I pitied the kid I used to be. The Ethan who bent over backwards to help this family, while they stole from him and smiled to his face. You know what's crazy? I said. If she just asked back then, I might have helped. Tyler looked up. But instead she stole. Then lied. Then made you lie. Then tried to guilt me with a notarized trap. He didn't respond. Because there was nothing left to say. You need to leave, I said. And don't come back until you've done something more than apologize. He hesitated. What about Mom? Mom can deal with the consequences she's earned. I walked him to the door. You're not a kid anymore, Tyler. So stop acting like a passenger in your own story. He nodded. No fight this time. Just quiet shame. After he left, I didn't cry. I didn't punch walls. I pulled up my credit report. Screenshot everything. Then I opened a new folder in my drive titled Fraud Documentation, Brooks Family. Because this time, I wasn't just cleaning up a mess. I was building a case. The next morning, I booked a meeting with my lawyer, Daniel. He'd been my go-to guy ever since the initial credit mess, and I could tell by the way he greeted me, firm handshake, furrowed brow, that he knew this wasn't just a check-in. We sat down. I pulled out my laptop. I need this documented, formal, and actionable, I said, laying out a folder titled Family Financial Fraud, chronology on his desk like a nuclear briefcase. Inside were screenshots of the credit card accounts my mom opened, statements from the collection agencies, email confirmation from the mortgage officer about the cosign attempt, a transcript of her apology letter, the recording from the kitchen, and now documentation of the student loan she took out in my name for Tyler. Daniel skimmed it all, his lawyer face tightening with every page. You could absolutely press charges, he said, setting the documents down. Criminal fraud. Multiple counts. It's a slam dunk. I nodded slowly. Do I want to destroy her? I asked out loud. Not really to him, more like to myself. Daniel leaned back. Let me reframe that. Do you want accountability? Or silence? I didn't even hesitate. Accountability. Then let's file a formal demand letter. List every fraudulent act. Give her a deadline to repay or face legal action. And Tyler? If he was complicit, that goes in too. I took a breath. Let's do it. By Friday, the letter was drafted, printed, and ready. We didn't just send it to her. We served it. At her job. She worked front desk at a dental clinic. Which meant the letter, formal, sealed, and stamped, was hand-delivered to her in front of patients, coworkers, and her boss. She called me 3 hours later. I didn't pick up. Then came the texts. Mom, what the hell is this? Mom, are you out of your mind? Mom, you're threatening your own mother with court? Mom, your grandmother would be ashamed. Classic playbook, guilt first, deflection second, shame third. Then came the big one. Mom, if you do this, I'll tell everyone what you did in college. You're not innocent either. That one stopped me. Because I knew what she meant, or at least what she was trying to mean. One time in college, I missed a rent payment and borrowed $300 from a roommate. I paid it back in 2 weeks. That was it. This woman was so desperate, she was ready to invent skeletons to make me shut up. So I replied with just one sentence. See you in court. That was the first time she didn't reply. The following Monday, Tyler called. This time I answered. Mom's freaking out, he said. She got written up at work. Said the letter embarrassed her. She embarrassed herself, I replied. She said she's thinking of selling her car to pay you back. She should. Tyler sighed like the world was being unfair to her. I let him stew in it. Then he dropped the kicker. She's telling people you're doing this for revenge. That you've always been jealous of me. I almost laughed. Tyler, I said calmly, I'm not jealous. I'm free. And then I hung up. Because what they never understood was that this wasn't about revenge. This was about finally putting my name back in my own hands. The court date never happened. It didn't have to. About a week after my lawyer served the demand letter, I got a Venmo notification from an account I didn't recognize. It was from my mom. $9,124.23. Memo. For past misunderstandings. She didn't send a message. She didn't call. I stared at the screen like it was a mirage. After years of lies, denial, manipulation, the debt was just gone. Like a final, desperate bribe to make it all go away. But the damage was never about the money. The money was just the receipt. 3 weeks later, I was walking home from the gym when I saw a familiar figure waiting by the front steps of my apartment. It was her. She looked smaller. Older. Like the mask had finally cracked and let the exhaustion through. I stopped in front of her. Crossed my arms. She looked up. I'm not here to fight, she said. Good, I replied. I paid what I owed. You repaid the debt. Not the damage. She nodded. I know. We stood there in silence. The air thick with things neither of us wanted to say out loud. Then she finally asked, Can we fix this? I tilted my head. You mean before or after the identity theft, the fake apology, the secret student loan, the threats, the lies, the manipulation, and the public smear campaign? Her eyes welled up. I'm still your mother. I shrugged. And I'm still Ethan Brooks. Not your scapegoat. Not your co-signer. Not your insurance policy. She started to cry. I didn't move. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even bitter. I was done. She reached into her purse. Pulled out a little envelope. Offered it to me. I didn't take it. What is that? I asked. A letter. Just, if you ever want to know why I did what I did. I already know, I said. You saw me as a backup plan. And now you've run out of lives. She winced. I stepped past her. Keyed into the building. Before the door shut behind me, I turned back. I don't hate you, Mom. I just don't trust you. And I don't think I ever will. Then I shut the door. It's been 6 months. My credit is finally above 720 again. I bought a used car in my own name. I even got approved for a small business loan, something I never thought I'd qualify for. Tyler moved to another city. We haven't spoken since. Amy and I still talk. Turns out cousins who print exposé flyers are the real ones. And my mom? Last I heard, she left her job at the clinic and moved in with a friend. To get a fresh start. She sent me a Christmas card. No return address. Just one line. I hope one day you'll forgive me. I haven't responded. Maybe someday. Maybe not. But for now, I'm just Ethan Brooks. And for the first time in my life, that's finally enough.